Mr. Speaker, what Mr. Omusundi raises, and I told him when we were doing public participation, that the only thing I regretted about his petition was the fact that he was restricting it to governors and MCAs. This is a petition that actually touches on all, both national and county government officials, including those of us in the parliament who, when executing projects implemented with public resources, we have fallen into the trap of appending our pictures and our names and making the public imagine that we are the ones funding those projects. Mr. Speaker, I believe beyond what we have recommended as a committee, and I would want to call Mr. Omusundi and others who would go for public interest litigation, that any public officer who actually appends their name on public projects should, on the basis of the articles that I have just read, be barred from standing for public office. In fact, they need to be barred from holding any public office. Mr. Speaker, you might be aware that in every law that we have implemented, and I was a member of the Commission for the Implementation of the Constitution, we actually made it a requirement that before anybody is appointed or elected into public office, they should be compliant with Chapter 6 of the Constitution. And I've just demonstrated how what Mr. Laban Musundi is actually talking about is a violation of Chapter 6 of our Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, even as we ask EACC to name and shame, my view is that this should not be enough. These should be one ground against which the IEBC should bar all those officers who are seeking election from seeking election after pretending or dishonestly presenting public projects as though they are their personal projects. Mr. Speaker, this habit or this conduct is flourishing in our country because we have not, 13 years later, 15 years after the promulgation of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, we have not legislated on civic education. We are supposed to invest as a country in civic education to be able to educate the public, the citizens, particularly the vulnerable, to understand that when public officers abuse office, misappropriate, and I'm using this word misappropriate very carefully, by suggesting that I am the one who has delivered this project when I am not the one who delivered it, Mr. Speaker, in my view, that is misappropriation. I am actually pretending, lying to the public, that by my power and by my finances, I have delivered a project when I have not. Mr. Speaker, you know the impact of these lies to our public. Many of our poor people have ended up, in fact, not having a proper choice when it comes to elections because they are misled by the fact that this electoral officer shared a check of 2,000 shillings, and that check, I owe it to them to vote for them because they gave it to me. There are many people from poor families who believe the bursaries they receive of public funds are funds by the individuals who actually dish out those checks. And that's why when Senator Karungo raised or tabled the bill to try and amalgamate all bursaries into funds that can go directly to the schools, I was supportive of that bill. Mr. Speaker, we've reached that place in our society, in my view, when we have to recollect, when we have to introspect as a country, when we have to correct where we have gone wrong. And one of the ways in which we have gone wrong is to misappropriate our offices, particularly as elected leaders, to actually mislead society that the resources of this nation are our resources, and we can dish them out in our name, we can dish them out as we wish. Mr. Speaker, because of that, corruption has gone to high heavens in terms of the instances. So, Mr. Msundi, you have actually brought a very good petition, a petition that is actually should be taken seriously, a petition that should be listened to, and in my view, a petition that all Kenyans of goodwill, those in civil society, those listening, the citizens who care to understand what the Constitution is saying, those of us in elective offices, those in appointive offices, should understand the need to separate public interest from personal interest. Mr. Speaker, as we move forward, I'm wondering whether it is more legislation that we need. We need our institutions, and Mr. Speaker, we have so many Chapter 15 commissions in this country that can actually assist us to implement some of these issues. We are asking that we have enough people willing to move petitions, like Mr. Msundi has done, willing to go to court, willing to move to the Commission on the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, but Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, the National Gender Equality Commission, the CAJ can, on their own motion, be able to actually take on some of these issues and move them to their logical conclusion. So even as I sit, Mr. Speaker, I am glad that members of this Senate have taken this report seriously. I am glad that they have taken Mr. Msundi's petition seriously and debated it at length during this time when, in my view, the country needs to redirect itself in order to get back on track from tens of years of nurturing a bad habit that may very well throw us off the cliff. Mr. Speaker, I hope our students who are learning will also understand that this is important. As you grow up, you need to know that the fact that an MP has given you a bursary does not mean it is their personal money. It is money that has been appropriated by Parliament for purposes of education, and they need to be doing so humbly, indicating that we received so much in terms of the kitty of bursary, and this is how we have deployed it. Those who have done it well, Mr. Speaker, have usually allowed the public to determine for themselves who is the most needy, and they have openly shared. So what Mr. Msundi has raised is, as I began by saying, is a matter of accountability. We can't account if we say public money is our money. We can't account if we even have the arbitrary decision to be able to say, because this village largely voted against me or for my opponent, this village will not get this particular service. The day we get to that level where nobody will know, the public or the villagers will just know that we have so many millions for a road, and we want to know whether that road is worth the millions that were allocated for it. When we move to that level and start understanding what costs what, we will have less misappropriation both of our offices and of the public funds that are assigned to our offices or that are related to our offices. So, Mr. Musundi, I don't know whether you're listening out there, and whoever else, thank you so much for giving us opportunity to canvass and discuss this issue in this country, an issue which does not need any law, in my view, to be passed, is an issue that needs to be implemented. And it's an issue that is important for policy for this reason. When I become governor and then we have Muma Care, Tangwa takes over, and because Tangwa heads Catherine, Tangwa decides, no, I'm moving away Muma Care, now it is Tangwa Care. When Asige takes over, Asige says it is now Asige Care. We don't even know what we are communicating. And when Beatrice takes over, she wants it to be called Abito Care. Why are we personalizing public service? If we think this program is good for maternal health, let it just be a good program for maternal health that must be retained by every next government. We must not play around with services to our people where we decide this is about a mix for Catherine Muma, the next mix is for so and so, and that's what we have done with our education system. Every president who comes wants their variation of an education system. Meantime, their own children are not going to those education systems. They've taken them to international schools and they're experimenting with others. We must decide this program is good for our nation and we are going to continue. Regardless of whether the previous president was a good president in my view or not. We must learn to get to the place where we praise a good program for what it is, regardless of what we think of whoever is doing it. And the best way to do it is to stop naming programs after ourselves, is to stop calling ourselves the patrons and the matrons of all these public programs. Mr. Speaker, we have a program in Nyakach, which was built by one member of parliament, and 10 years later has never been used because another member of parliament has never seen the need to use that facility. People of that village are now requesting, why don't we use this building, give it to the county government so that it can make a hospital out of it, because we have issues with women delivering. But because Catherine did not like what Asige did, Catherine decides she will not continue with the good project that Asige did. So we must remove our names from projects. And we must remove our pictures from projects. We must allow public projects to remain public projects. And if we do so, the personal benefit will move away, and even in elections now become leveled in terms of the playing field. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable Senators, I have this communication to make on visiting teachers and students from Kipsoen Boys High School in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and students from Kipsoen Boys High School in Elgeyo Marakwet County. The delegation comprises 3 teachers and 48 students who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. Honorable Senators, in our issued tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Thank you. Since the senator representing Elgeyo Marakwet County is out on other duties, I will ask Senator Asige to welcome the visitors from Elgeyo Marakwet.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for the opportunity to give a warm welcome to the boys' school from Elgeyo Marakwet. I want to welcome you heartily to the Senate. I'm hoping very much that you have an enjoyable visit, not just enjoyable, but also educational, and you get to meet and understand the mandate that we hold here in the Senate as members of Parliament representing your county. and other counties across the nation. Mr. Speaker, as a young person myself here in the Senate representing youth, women, and persons with disabilities, because I also have a disability myself, which is visual, I just wanted to encourage the young men amongst us today that they can too be sat in the positions that we're sitting in, and I hope, because they are not the future generation, they are the generation for today. I hope and pray that they believe and see that they can change this nation. They can definitely give us a brighter and more a brighter future is what I mean, Speaker. I hope you make better decisions than some of our past legislators and maybe some of us might make here and there. We do make mistakes as well, but learn from us and do better than us in future. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Sige. Next is Senator Dhangwa Paul Karungo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. But before I give my contribution, I don't know which standing order, Mr. Speaker, prohibits this Senate from mentioning the public officers' names. The only thing it prohibits is discussing their character. Because, Mr. Speaker, we know the President is William Ruto. We know the CS for Interior is Kipchumba Murkomen. We know them by name. So by prohibiting us from just mentioning their names and their public officers, I think that is wrong, Mr. Speaker. Unless the Senate is not aware who the President is.
Guidance.
I'm not.
It has been said many times.
I'm not challenging.
This is not the first time.
I'm not challenging. Maybe unless the Senate probably doesn't want us to mention the names of those people who work for Kenyans. But nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, let me give my contribution. Mr. Speaker, the issue of public officers and state officers branding public projects with their names, with their portraits, is equally corrupt, Mr. Speaker, because you're using public project to promote yourself. I can give an example, Mr. Speaker. In Zaire, there was a president by the name of Mobutu Sese Seko, Mr. Speaker. And Mobutu Sese Seko changed everything to his name, from the airport, to the roads, to the schools. Actually, in that country, they were calling it Mobutuism, because he used to name everything his name, Mr. Speaker. But when he was overthrown in 1997, all those names were removed within a day, and he was forgotten within a day, Mr. Speaker. In Rwanda here, the President Kagame, has refused to brand anything with any official's name. Even his portrait is not hanged in schools. His portrait is not anywhere in businesses, Mr. Speaker. Those are two presidents we can see who are pulling from different sides, Mr. Speaker. But when we come back here in Kenya, and I remember very well